So, Birmingham Legion, you're the last man standing. All the USL is eliminated. All of NPSL is eliminated. All of NISA is eliminated. All amateurs are eliminated. You are the last lower level club that's in this US Open Cup. Now I know you're saying, hey, we're not lower level. Just because we're not in MLS, that don't mean we're lower level. Technically speaking, based on the classification, Birmingham, you're the last man standing. So all the lower levels, everybody's looking up to you. They're looking to see what you can do. Pittsburgh tried, but after their main man, Albert Dikwa, went down in the first half, that was it. It was over. And since he had too many weapons, and I have to be honest, after Dikwa went down in the first half, I actually stopped watching that Pittsburgh Cincy match because it's almost like a foregone conclusion. You know, Birmingham, one thing that a lot of us don't want to see happen is US Open Cup being one-sided, where every year we see MLS winning. Because once it gets to that point, it's no longer a tournament. Once it gets to that point, it's really no point of watching. And it's probably already at that point. When was the last time a non-MLS squad won the US Open Cup? And the amount of money they have, the amount of money they're continuing to gain, the amount of better players they're continuing to attract, the different academies and developmental institutions, training facilities that they're starting to build. I mean, it's getting to the point where, if it's not there already, where the gap between MLS and everybody else is completely wide, to the point where it's almost impossible for anybody else to catch up. And what making matters worse is that you have USL ownership groups having talks with MLS to join their squad, to join their ship. There are USL leaderships from individual clubs finding ways how they can jump ship from the USL. And this is what's empowering MLS to continuing to monopolize certain areas and certain regions. You see, we got to be careful when it comes to pointing fingers and blaming certain people for doing certain things. We can't get mad at MLS for monopolizing the sport when you have USL ownership groups having talks with MLS to turn their USL championship club into an MLS Next Pro club. We can't get mad at MLS because if that's the case, MLS has the kind of mindset is like, well, they want to be part of us. So because they're reaching out to us, we're going to invade their territory because they're basically giving us the green light to invade their territory. You know, one thing I don't want the US Open Cup to turn into is college football. You know, one of the reasons why college football is not a national brand, no matter how hard ESPN promotes it and Fox and CBS and every other major broadcasting linear network, no matter how hard they try to, well, not try, but no matter how hard they promote it, it's not a national brand. I mean, yeah, you got big fan bases in Pennsylvania and Columbus, Ohio, and Michigan, Nebraska, but it's still not a national brand. And the reason why it's not a national brand is because you have teams from the same region winning a championship every single year. So that suspense factor that makes people want to watch from the start to the end to see who's going to win is no longer there. Because at the beginning of the season, it's already a foregone conclusion on who's going to win. It doesn't matter if Notre Dame and Texas and Michigan begins the season in the top 10 every year. After Thanksgiving, everybody knows who's going to make the playoffs. And everybody knows who's going to win it all. That is what the US Open Cup has turned into. You know, at the beginning of the US Open Cup, yeah, we cheer for the amateur clubs, the community clubs, you know, they're making a name for themselves, them having the opportunity to promote their brand, you know, like the Appalachian Football Club, you know, and, you know, other, you know, Chicago House and other small clubs. Yeah, we cheer for them. It's good to see it happen. It's good to see something different. But we all know, as we get into later rounds, who's really going to win it and who's not going to win it. The US Open Cup, there's no suspense factor to US Open Cup, which is one reason why it's not interesting. With Birmingham, how about you be the one to change that this year? Last year, Sacramento did its job. Sacramento tried. Sacramento made it all the way to the end. Sacramento and Union Omaha were the reasons why a lot of people paid close attention to the US Open Cup. Because honestly, a lot of soccer fans don't want to see MLS win it every year. Because we all know that MLS is at a far higher advantage than the lower leagues. You see, MLS doesn't only have US Open Cup to rely on in order to make it to the CCL. They got Supporter Shield. They got MLS Cup Championship. MLS Cup Playoffs. Leagues Cup. There are multiple opportunities for MLS clubs to make it to the CCL. The CCC. It's no longer CCL. It's CONCACAF Champions Cup. The CCC. Triple C. But as for you, USL and everybody else, lower level leagues, you only have the US Open Cup to make it to the CCC. So that's one of the reasons why we will love to see a USL team win it all. But the reality is that MLS have better players and they have deeper rosters so they can play their second and third stringers throughout the whole tournament. And then in that final championship game, they play their main starters. That's what Orlando did last year. Throughout most of the tournament last year, Orlando didn't play majority of their key players. It was mostly second and third string players. But then when Orlando made it to the championship against Sacramento, they threw the whole full key MLS starters, all first teamers. I don't even know why Orlando had to chose to spy on Sacramento last year. They didn't have to. So Birmingham, the reason why I bring all this up, because I need you to understand the stakes that's on the line when you go against Inter Miami CF this evening. The lower level leagues are rooting for you. And a lot of American soccer purists are cheering for you because we all know that you're at a disadvantage going against MLS. And we want to see you do what Sacramento did last year. But this year, Birmingham, we want to see you win it all. Birmingham, let me tell you something. If you want to get respect in the South, it starts in the US Open Cup. You want to be up there with Atlanta United and Nashville and Charlotte and Orlando and Miami. You gain your notoriety and you gain your respect starting tonight through the US Open Cup. Why? Because most of us don't watch you play during the regular USL season because USL, MLS, and Liga MX and every other soccer club, they tend to play around the same times. This month and next month is really the only time of the year where people will really be able to just watch MLS and USL without any other soccer league playing. So the spotlight is on you. The spotlight is on you this evening. Not only nationally, but globally, Birmingham. Why? Because the team that you are playing is a possibility that global football legend, global football icon, Lionel Messi will be playing for that team next month. It's also a possibility that Lionel Messi will be watching this match tonight. Why? Because it's a possibility that Lionel Messi want to see who his future teammates are going to be. So whether this game is on BR, on YouTube, or CBS Golazo, Lionel Messi may tune in for a few minutes, maybe just a few minutes in the first half, maybe the first 10 minutes or first 15, 20 minutes of the first half, just to see what his potentially future new teammates will be like. But as a result of him watching his teammates, his potential new teammates, he'll also be watching you, Birmingham, because you'll be on the field playing against Inter Miami. You'll be on the field at the same time. So Birmingham, the world is watching you this evening. Do not think it's only people in Birmingham, Alabama that's watching you. The whole world is watching you this evening, Birmingham Legion. Birmingham Legion, this is the biggest match that you have ever played up to this date. I'm not going to say this is the biggest match ever because you're going to be around in this game for a long time and you'll have more big matches in the future. But up to this date, Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, this is the biggest match that you have ever played up to this date. The most viewership that you have ever received. And this is why I put emphasis on the US Open Cup being important. The US Open Cup doesn't have to be some low rated recreational competition. The US Open Cup can be bigger than what it is right now. But you just need all leagues willing to work together and find some investors and find a major linear network that will at least be willing to broadcast at least from maybe like the quarterfinals on up, but I'm not going to get too much into that. I will talk more about linear TV on another monologue. Birmingham, you can win this tonight. Miami is under a new interim coach. They just fired the longtime coach Phil Neville last week. You have a more experienced coach when it comes to leading a team. You can win this tonight. And not only tonight, You can win it all, Birmingham. You got to believe in yourself. If I'm you, Birmingham, I am going to preserve my starters throughout the rest of this USL regular season until I win the US Open Cup. Birmingham, what do you gain from winning the USL championship over US Open Cup? That's the question I want to ask every USL team. But you're the last man standing, so I'm talking to you, Birmingham. What do you really gain from winning USL championship over US Open Cup? Yeah, you get a star. Yes, you get a trophy. Maybe you get some prize money. I don't know how USL system works, but you most likely do get some prize money, I believe. But that's it. You're USL king. You don't get to play in the CCL. You don't get to play in the Club World Cup. It just stops at USL championship. You just get a trophy and prize money. You win the US Open Cup. You get money. You get a trophy. And you get a spot in the CCL. You do well in the CCL, Birmingham. You play in the Club World Cup. Birmingham, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself just because you're in the USL Championship. Don't think lowly of yourself just because you're in the USL Championship. You can do it, Birmingham. You're the last underdog standing. And your hashtag is hammered down. If somebody goes by that slogan, hammered down, that means they're tough. That means they're strong. And they don't view themselves as an underdog. Birmingham, your greatest enemy in this US Open Cup is yourself. It would be yourself. And how it will be yourself is your lack of belief. So Birmingham, the whole world is watching you this evening. You're playing against International Miami, a club that's getting ready to become a global brand. If this Lionel Messi deal go through, and all of us, for the sake of American soccer, all of us are hoping that this goes through, International Miami is getting ready to become a global brand. Why not put an upset on a team that is a global brand? You can do it, Birmingham. So let's hammer this thing down and pull this upset, or cup set, as US Open Cup calls it. Let's pull off this cup set this evening in front of fans that is going to show up to support you. Birmingham, I guarantee you this match tonight is going to be a sellout, because International Miami is now the LAFC of the East Coast. How many people show up to watch LAFC play? That what International Miami is going to be like. So the people in Birmingham, Alabama, they want to see if you can beat Lionel Messi's future team.